Guys, this story comes to us from the NewYorkTimes.com. Now, I'm not going to read everything about this. I just want to go over a few assembly bills that Governor Newsom in California is proposing. And as he's proposing these, you know that other states could follow, because when one state does something, other states go, good idea. Colorado legalized marijuana. California said, great idea. So I'm going to go over a few assembly bills here that Governor Newsom is looking to sign. And a couple of them affect cop watchers and First Amendment auditors. Assembly Bill 101, making ethnic studies a graduation requirement. Under this proposal, public school students would be required to complete an ethnic studies course to graduate from high school, starting in the fall of 2024. This is the third attempt by Assemblyman Jose Medina, a Democrat out of Riverside, to pass such a mandate. Newsom vetoed this idea last year amid pushback from some parents as well as members of the state's Jewish community, which said the curriculum had bias towards Palestine. In today's society, today's climate, you're not going to get this passed, I don't think. People are going to know. But, you know, when I was a kid, we had ethnic studies. It was called history class. Now they call it social studies, and they don't even talk about history. Talk about Booker T. Washington. Booker what? Booker T. Washington. Is that a city in Washington State? No, it's Booker T. You know. But we talked about, you know, Harriet Tubman. We talked about John Glenn. You say John Glenn today, kids go, what? Who's that? John Glenn. Is he related to Glenn Ford? No. Anyway, I digress. Let's move on to AB Assembly Bill 1238, decriminalizing jaywalking. Here's a big one. This bill would remove fines for crossing the street outside of a crosswalk unless there's imminent danger. I'm going to get back to that. There would be no more tickets for running across the road when cars are nowhere to be seen. Supporters of the law say police enforce jaywalking laws in unequal ways or use them as pretext to detain people for no good reason. Jaywalking is like they're resisting. You jaywalk! No, I didn't. There's no two connecting intersections. I'm going to get back to that. Police officers in California are 5 times as likely to stop a black person for a walking infraction as a white person, according to Bloomberg City Lab reports. I don't know. They did analysis on that. They have the data. But what I really want to get to is cops will use jaywalking as just a pretext to stop you. You jaywalked, you know. And I told one deputy, I said, there's no two adjacent intersections with traffic control devices. He goes, well, you walked across the road. That's jaywalking. I said, no, under California 21, I forget the code I gave him. May have been 99. No, I gave him the California code, vehicle code, and I said, I didn't jaywalk. He goes, well, tell it to the judge. I can't look up every single code that, you know, is in history. That's what he said, and he arrested me because I wouldn't spell my name, which I gave him 4 times. I gave him my name 4 times. He wrote my date of birth down, then told dispatch. He's not giving me any of his information. Really, it's on camera. And that's why he didn't. The resisting and all that, jaywalk, none of that flew. But I digress. These cops use this jaywalking thing, and then they do say that. They say, I can't look up every single code. Then why are you a cop? Why don't you go be a garbage man or a, you know, high school custodian? Because you suck at being a cop. But what I wanted to get back to was, unless there's imminent danger, you know the cops are going to come up with some type of danger. Law enforcement will invent an imminent danger. You know, well, see headlights way down there. That car coming, they could have came and hit you when you crossed. What, from a half a mile away? Oh, you don't know how fast he's going. You know, cops are going to use this stuff. You can decriminalize jaywalking all you want. I don't think it's going to stop them from stopping people. Although, If you're running your camera at that time, you may have a defense under Assembly Bill 1238. If this passes, you go into court and say, there was no imminent danger. I just crossed, there was nobody. I don't know. What do you guys think? Let's move on. State Bill 110 is paying drug users not to use. Now, I'm going to put a link to this story in the description box below. You can go and read all the Assembly state bills you want that I'm not getting to. There's some about college. But this one says paying drug users not to use. California could become the first state to begin treatment that pays people not to use methamphetamines and cocaine. This bill would allow the state's Medicaid program to fund these novel efforts. Studies have found that positive reinforcement in this case, saying paying people not to use drugs is the most effective treatment for meth or cocaine addiction, particularly when combined with behavioral therapy. Not to make light of this, and I'm not trying to make light of this, but if they pass this, I might get a cocaine addiction just so I can get paid. Because, I don't know, man. Hey, we're going to pay you not to use drugs, okay? And you know what they're going to do? I just thought of that. You know what they're going to do? They're going to pay them not to use drugs. And they're going to take the money that they're paying them with, and they're going to go buy some meth. There you go. Gotta love it. When the state funds the addiction, are they an enabler? Now, State Bill 98 is the biggie. That's the one that people were talking about this weekend on YouTube. State Bill 98, protecting rights for journalists. After recent injuries and arrests of journalists covering protests last year, of course, this measure aims to limit how much the police can interfere with the news media at public events. Now remember, they're going to use that when you're a cop watcher, they're going to use this as public event. Well, this ain't a public event. This is a traffic stop. This bill would prevent police officers from blocking journalists covering demonstrations and stop them from citing journalists for failure to disperse or for obstruction for being where they need to be to do their jobs. Now, Newsom vetoed a version of this bill last year. Of course he did. But I don't know, he probably veto it again, who knows. But this is up against State Bill 98. You're going to want to vote yes on this one because then it will prevent police officers from blocking you at demonstrations and public events. And they can't, if they say you must disperse, you can stay if you have your journalist credentials. You know you're going to have those, right? If you say, my credentials are the First Amendment, you're going to be like shaking their head going, no. This is for journalists. So get your credentials. I can tell you how to get freelance credentials. I am a lifetime member of the International Freelance Photographers Organization. And it has a little code on the back. If they go to a website, enter that code, it'll come up with my information. I don't care. But because that really says, oh, he is a freelance journalist. You guys can say all you want. Come on, trolls. Bring it. All right, so there's some more laws, too, that he's looking at. Newsom ended mandatory minimum sentences for nonviolent drug crimes this last week. So now there's no more mandatory minimum sentences. Does that mean? I don't know. I'm not awake yet. California is taking steps under a new state law to return a Manhattan Beach property stolen from a black couple. And dependent parents can now be added to health insurance plans. They couldn't before? I don't know. There you go, guys. If you live in California, that's some of what's going on.